So you've built the dream, your coaching business is thriving. You're making between $5,000 and $10,000 a month, absolute bare minimum. You've got the income most people dream about. But let me ask you something. Why does it still feel like something is wrong? Why do you have this sense of anxiety? Why do you kind of feel like it doesn't matter how much work you do, it's never enough? Well, let me tell you a hard truth. Your business problems aren't business problems at all. They are personal problems that are showing up in business. It's all of the stuff that you haven't dealt with, the fears, the doubts, the old stories that you keep carrying around with you. And I promise you, if you don't face them, no strategy, no system, no amount of money is going to fix it. So if you do not know who I am, my name is Sean Holden, and I help business owners and coaches end self-sabotage so they can show up better in business and make more money and show up better in their personal lives for the people that they love. Over the last year alone, we have helped well over 100 people. So now you know who I am. I want to get into today's video. And what I want to do is I want to share with you 10 personal struggles that high-earning coaches face and how it sabotages their business. Now, I'm going to use real-life examples for you here, and I'm going to change the names of these people because I think it's important for confidentiality. And what I want to do is I will give you the problem. I will give you the probable root cause of that particular problem. I will give you an example using my own clients. Then I'll give you a reflection point so that you can make the most out of this video. So let's get on into the video. So the first problem I see is an inconsistent income. And the probable root cause for this is a fear of not being enough. So let me kind of break this down for you. Inconsistent income is a direct reflection of a deeper fear of not being enough. Now, it comes from uncertainty, it comes from self-doubt, and a lack of confidence in your own ability to deliver results for your clients. Now, coaches who struggle with this particular issue, they cycle between having a really great month and then being financially insecure the next. And these patterns usually occur because of their own internal belief system. It's fragile and they are constantly second guessing whether or not they're capable or skilled enough. So I'll give you an example. Let's call her Emma. Emma had a proven coaching system, but every time her business income kind of plateaued, she started having the internal dialogue of, what if I can't repeat this success? What if I'm just lucky? Now, of course, these self-sabotaging thoughts can be paralyzing. And even though she had clear evidence that she was good, her fear would make her retreat into hesitation and start looking for the right moments. So a reflection point here for you is this isn't a financial problem. It's a belief problem. So to eliminate inconsistent income, you need to rewrite the story in your head that keeps telling you you're not enough. You need to trust the system, your strategies, and your previous success. And you need to consistently prove to yourself that you are in fact enough by showing up consistently. Okay, so the second problem that I see is overworking and burnout. And the root cause of this usually is when coaches struggle to prioritize. So overworking tends to kind of stem from a warped belief that busier equals better, that more equals better. And coaches, what they do is they often tie their self-worth to their productivity, thinking that if they don't stay busy enough, they're going to lose their clients, their success, their income, etc. But the problem with this is it creates a vicious cycle of overworking without boundaries, and this just leads to resentment and exhaustion. So again, I'll give you an example. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is a coach earning six figures, but every evening she found herself at her laptop, answering emails, creating content, and responding to Slack messages. She'd constantly think, if I stop, everything will fall apart. Now, the problem with this is she prioritized the business at the expense of her own well-being. And it caught up to her. She started feeling irritable and her passion began to slip. So a reflection point here is overworking isn't the path to success. You need boundaries. You need to recharge. You want to prioritize strategy over activity. You want to work smarter and you want to balance your business goals with your mental health. It's a much better plan instead of just endlessly grinding. And of course, it's much more sustainable. Okay, so the third problem I see is procrastination and avoidance. And the root cause of this is usually for people waiting for the perfect moments. So, procrastination, I really want to illuminate this, is more than just being lazy. It's simply rooted in fear, fear of failure, fear of judgments, or fear of rejection, etc. Now, coaches often procrastinate because they overthink, allowing their fears to dictate their actions. And the reason for this is because waiting feels much safer than risking failures or making mistakes. The problem is, though, this avoidance compounds over time, leaving you stuck and in a cycle of avoidance. Again, so I'll give you a real life example. Let's call him David. David knew he needed to relaunch his new mastermind group program. But every time he started creating the program, self-doubt took over. Thoughts which were paralyzing, things such as, what if no one joins? What if I can't deliver value? And these thoughts would just kind of keep him stuck. Instead of creating progress, he found distractions: TV, Instagram, LinkedIn. He even started organizing his office. Anything but the actual uncomfortable action of launching his new program. So, reflection point here is procrastination feeds fear. And every single time you delay action, you reinforce the narrative that you are not ready. So the only way to overcome procrastination is to take one step forward towards action, regardless of how you feel. Courage begins with just showing up, even when you don't feel ready. The fourth problem I see is fear of failure, and the root cause of this is perfectionism. So let me drive this home. The fear of failure traps so many coaches. They become perfectionists and they're just waiting for the perfect time, the perfect message, the perfect strategy to execute their goals. But the truth is, perfectionism leads to inaction. And coaches stay stuck because they're afraid of making mistakes, afraid of being judged, or afraid that their clients won't respond well. So again, another example, let's call her Sophia. She spent months trying to perfect her slides for her group coaching program. Every time she felt ready to send them out, she would think, maybe they're not polished enough. Maybe I need more strategies. What did this do? This led to hesitation, revisions, and more overthinking. Months later, and she still hadn't launched her coaching program, which is exactly why she hired me. So a reflection point here is you'll never feel 100% ready, and that's okay. Done is better than perfect every single time. And I want you to perceive mistakes as opportunities to grow, learn, and adapt. I've made plenty of mistakes, so many, in fact, and taking imperfect action is always better than taking no action at all. Number 5 is a lack of boundaries. And the root cause of this is usually a fear of losing clients. Okay, so setting boundaries can feel counterintuitive, especially when you fear losing clients. Now, many coaches stay on for their clients at all hours because they think that saying no will make them appear kind of unprofessional, uncommitted, or replaceable. Now, this often leads to resentment, burnout, and unhappy. And trust me, I've been there. It's not a sustainable way. So let's give you an example. Let's call her Chrissy. Chrissy would answer messages at 11, take last minute calls on the weekend because she believed if I don't make myself available, they'll stop trusting me. But this constant availability just left her feeling drained and unproductive. And the problem with that is you are constantly teaching your clients how to treat you, right? So if you are responding to them at 11 o'clock, they're going to expect you to respond to them at 11 o'clock in the future, which can just create unreasonable expectations from your clients because you've taught them what you will and won't do. Okay. So a reflection point there is healthy boundaries build healthy client relationships. Saying no doesn't mean you're uncommitted. It means you value your time, your mental health, and your ability to show up fully when you're with your clients. For me, I like to take Sundays away from the business. Number 6, low self-worth. Usually very simple. People feel unworthy of success here. Now, low self-worth leads to self-sabotage because they think they don't deserve success, money, or the opportunities that come with business growth. Now, this belief creates undercharging, overworking, and the fear of ultimately stepping into their full potential. So let me give you an example here. Frank would frequently undercharge for his services, and he'd worked with so many people. And he felt like the money I was asking him to charge was far too much. He had this internal kind of narrative that I'm not worth this, Sean. I can't charge that, Sean. And I want to really kind of drive this home, you're worth every bit of success you want to claim. If you don't believe that you are deserving of success, then you really need to work on this with your own coach. There's nothing wrong with capitalism. There's nothing wrong with charging high ticket. If you are delivering a service of value and your clients are happy, that's all that matters. So the seventh problem I see is a difficulty in managing money. And the root cause of this, I really like going into this, but it's a fear of never having enough. Now, the fear that there will never be enough money is simply a deep-rooted emotional issue that stems from a scarcity mindset. Now, coaches can experience financial instability even when their business is performing really, really well. And this is because they haven't established yet kind of clear systems, habits, or they haven't worked on the beliefs to manage their earnings. And what this tends to do is it creates a cycle of feast or famine where abundance feels kind of fleeting and success often feels out of reach. So I'll give you an example here. Let's call him Luke. Luke would maybe have one good month in his business. Yet every time he saw kind of a certain amount of money in his bank accounts, he'd spend excessively traveling, he'd splurge on courses he didn't need, he'd kind of spend a few $1,000s on a new program and label it as an investment, right? And all this is just a habit of earning and then spending and then earning and then spending and then labeling this spending as investing to justify his behavior. Now, the chances are if you've already spent a lot of money on coaching, you probably don't need more information. You need to focus on implementation, especially if as soon as you have money in your bank account, you start looking at how you can spend it. That's a harmful pattern. So a reflection piece here is financial management is about creating stability through discipline, systems, and more importantly, mindset shifts. Fear-based spending comes from insecurity, not strategy. You can create peace of mind by developing a clear, actionable financial plan and respecting your own financial boundaries. Okay, so number 8 is imposter syndrome. And the root cause of this is very simple. It's often believing that you're a fraud. Now, imposter syndrome is simply a constant belief that you aren't as good as you appear or that success is just luck. Okay, this fear keeps coaches from owning their success and stepping into their full power because they believe their clients will find them out as a fraud. Now, imposter syndrome directly affects confidence, strategy, execution, and also prevents people from taking risks. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Rachel ran an incredible business. She was a business coach. She had loads of client results, but every success felt kind of hollow because she would think, I've only gotten this far because I got lucky. And she used to think one bad client experience will ruin everything. Now, her fear of being judged by other successful coaches kept her from raising her prices, marketing boldly, or stepping into opportunities that felt really risky, such as speaking events, because she was worried she was going to get found out. Okay, so a reflection point here, imposter syndrome thrives on isolation and fear. The best antidote is action and connection. Every coach has moments of doubts, but they're not evidence that you aren't good enough. You need to recognize your accomplishments as valid and trust in the process that you've mastered already to bring transformation to others. Number 9 is a lack of clear vision. And the root cause of this is usually just wandering without purpose, not having a clear destination in mind. So when you lack a clear vision for your business, you operate without direction. It's like a ship at sea with no destination in mind, just riding the waves, okay? So you might find yourself working, but you're not sure where you're headed. And this lack of clarity can create frustration, burnout, self-sabotage, because you're just expanding effort without a clear outcome in mind. And vision gives direction, purpose, and confidence to business owners and clarity in terms of where they're heading. So I'll give you an example. Liam would spend his days responding to client needs, creating content, managing admin, but never paused to ask himself, what does success actually look like for me in the next year? And because of this, his days just felt busy, but very unproductive. He constantly shifted priorities depending on the moments rather than just pursuing a larger goal. And we can kind of call this, I call it shiny, shiny syndrome too. So a reflection point for you here is vision isn't just about setting goals. It's about knowing why you're building the life you're building, right? Your business needs clear milestones and personal goals tied to it. So I want to ask yourself this. What kind of life do you want to live? What legacy do you want to create? Because clarity creates direction. That is the reflection point for you. And the final problem I see is a fear of letting go of control. And the root cause of this is a problem with trusting the process. Okay. So the fear of losing control is a major blocker for coaches, and it causes them to self-sabotage. And what it does is it stems from the belief that if they aren't managing every single detail of their business, it will fail. And this leads to micromanagement, kind of an inability to delegate, and even when bringing on additional team members or investing in systems that could make their lives much easier. So again, I'll give you an example. Cara, great business owner, but struggled with delegation. She would spend countless hours managing kind of minor client inquiries, low leverage activities, because she thought if I give control to someone else, they will mess it up, right? And this mindset just kept her stuck, overworked, and ultimately she was then resentful because she felt every single decision had to pass through her hands and other people were incapable. So I want to give you a reflection point here. Now, letting go isn't about abandoning all responsibility. It's simply about trusting others and focusing your energy on strategy, vision, and leadership. Growth comes when you hire support and trust systems to carry the operational weight. You can't scale by trying to control everything. So you need to trust yourself, your team, and your systems. So that's everything. I hope you found this video valuable. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And if you're struggling with any of these things that I've mentioned, feel free to book in a call down below to see if I can help. Otherwise, head here to this next video because YouTube thinks that you'll find it valuable.